Today we're going to be talking about The Vet, which is a short passage that is dedicated to kindergarten level students. What I like to do at first is to look at the title specifically and notice that it does say The Vet. So the title is really important because it really tells us what we're going to be talking about during this passage. It gives us an idea of what we should be looking for throughout this passage. Also, another really important thing to do before we start is to look at the top right corner in that circle. You notice ET, so that'll be the end sound of most of the words in this passage. So what does the ET ending sound like? Usually that'll make that et sound. You'll notice that this is also true in the vet in the title. So what do we know about vets before we read this article? Usually we're pretty familiar with vets. We know that they're like doctors for the animals. You take your animals to the vet if they're sick or if they're hurt, anything like that. So we know that the vet is going to be about that. Okay, so those are two things that you should probably do before beginning this article. So then we'll go ahead and dive into it. It says, Jen is my pet. Okay, so who has this pet? It'll be Jen, and Jen has a pet. So pet will be the word that ends with et. I let Jen get wet. Then there again, we have wet with the ET sound at the end. Okay, we'll continue on. Jen fell in a net. I bet the vet can help. So far we have Jen is the pet, and Jen got wet and fell into a net, and so she's thinking that the vet can help. So I met the vet. The vet will get the net off. We pet Jen, and I like the vet. So throughout this, can we name some of the things that end with et, just like vet? So we'll go through the first sentence. We see pet. So in the second sentence, we see get. And we also see wet in the second sentence. In the third sentence, we see net. In the fourth sentence, we also see bet and vet. So these are words that you're going to be looking out for, that ET sound, because that's what we're really focusing on in this lesson. So the next one is met and vet again. So vet is a very big word throughout this passage, since it refers back to the title. So in the last couple of sentences, it says the vet, which is another ET word, and net. Then we go on, it says when we see pet and vet again. So those are some of our ET words. So we'll go through and go through the question to kind of see what we remember from the passage. So we see Jen fell in a. So we'll go through the answer choices and kind of decide what we think is the best answer. So the first is pen. And we can kind of shut that answer down because we're focusing on the et end sound with these words, so we're not going to think it's really pen. So we kind of narrowed it down to the second option, jet, and the third option, net. So we'll go back and look through. So we see Jen is the pet. We see that in the first sentence. And I let Jen get wet, and Jen fell into a net. So what happened here is she fell into a net. In this passage, we never see the word jet, so we're going to have to assume from sentence 3 that the third answer choice would be correct, that Jen fell in a net. Question number 2, Jen went to the, okay, we'll go down to answer choice 1. Jen went to the den. But we notice again that this ends in en instead of et. So this is probably not correct. And so we'll go to answer choice number 2. Jen went to the vet. That could be an option since we did have the ET at the end of that. But we'll go on to answer choice number 3 to see if that's correct. So Jen went to the pen. Once again, this is something that ends in EN rather than ET. So we're going to have to see that answer choice number 2 is correct because Jen indeed went to the vet. As you can see,